it's important to notice that you're different, but it's also important to realize that you are who you are, and you have to deal with it no matter what it takes. I wasn't competing against other people, I was competing against myself, and I was raised to believe that education is important no matter how you're born, no matter what you've been through. It's really the key to everything. When people say that they're different, but they don't act any differently, that's different from saying that you're different and having the individuality and the courage to learn to be yourself no matter what people think of you and no matter what people may say. At the end of the day, you're you.
That part right there.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's singing, man. Whoa.
Yo, that was like, how long that take? Right there, that's it right there.
Tell me what your name is. Tell me where you're from. Girl, can I get your number? Maybe we can have some fun. I said, tell me what your name is.
Hey.
And tell me where you're from. Can I get your number? And maybe we can have some fun. I originally got into music because I wanted to work on my right hand. My right hand, the way my disability affected me was the entire right side of my body was affected. So when my brain transmits like messages, it always tells my right side to tighten up, and it causes like cramps and spasms. And when I was little, it used to keep me up. So it's like
cramps and spasms kept
you up? Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to wake me up out of my sleep. I used to cry. I used to have to be, heavily medicated just to even stop myself from, waking up in the middle of the night in pain. So one thing that my mom did for me, my mom was like everything to me. So what she did was she got a music teacher to come to my house because at the time I didn't have any helpers who could drive me places, and my mom worked all the way out in Brooklyn, so she had a piano teacher come to my house and teach me piano. But it wasn't so that I could learn piano, it was so that when I practiced, I could loosen up my right hand, and I could I could work on it. And when I first started, my hand was completely closed, and now I can open my hand, I can move my fingers. So music was that real. Not only was it an escape, but it helped me get better at what I do, and it helped me get better at the way that I see the world and the way that I operate in the world. Because before, when my hand was closed, now my hand is open. It took a lot of work, it took a lot of pain, but that music, what you created out of that work and that pain, was ultimately worth it, and that's what kind of kept me going. My mom decided to give us music therapy and piano lessons because we saw that my brother was going on and he was learning piano and he was learning the baritone. So,
not the tuba, but the baritone.
The baritone, and then the difference. The baritone is like deeper.
Yeah, the tuba?
Yeah, when you messed up, you really heard it. So it's like, we would always hear him practicing and all that stuff. So what we did was, we were like, oh, Mom, can we learn the piano? Because Kevin learned the piano. And my mom was never one to give one to one and leave out the rest. She always gave to all. So when we were about 7 or 8 years old, she enlisted in piano lessons. And I know that I begged for it, but the first couple of years were tough, man. I couldn't play a note. I couldn't move my fingers to even stretch and hit the note hard enough to play the note. You know what I mean? So it was
a challenge.
It was a challenge, but it was a welcome challenge.
So even though you weren't able to play as good as you would like at the time, did it discourage you at all? The fact that you couldn't play, or let's say reach a certain octave the way you would expect?
You see, the thing is that it didn't really discourage me, because when I heard the song in my head, because I could not physically do a lot of things. I spent a lot of time mentally practicing things such as conversations and music. So even when I couldn't play the music myself, I could hear it. And that it's kind of me wanting to bring that vision out into the world.
So mentally you had all of the ideas before you even translated onto any instruments, the piano.
Exactly.
Do you feel like learning the piano actually helped you at all?
I feel like learning the piano did help. I feel like, disregarding all the physical things for now, I really feel like music in general, especially the piano, forces you to get out of your own head. It's really, it's one thing to learn formally, and it's another thing to use the piano as an extension of yourself. So that's why when we used to play, when we play in the piano room and I hop in, it's because I'm extending the conversation that the instruments are having, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all it is communicating. Instruments communicate too.
And that's the thing, when it comes to conversation, when it comes to getting to know somebody, I'm also a writer. So part of what drew me into writing and music was I just wanted to get to know people and the world in a different way. And a lot of times, science is very rigid, math is very rigid. With music and writing, you could express yourself however you were feeling that day.
Well, what made you want to get into producing?
Actually, that's where you come in, because before I met you, I was playing piano, I was playing sheet music, I was playing pop songs. I never thought about. I always composed music on the piano, but producing is different altogether. It's orchestration.
Yeah, exactly.
So really, it's the parts coming together to make the whole.
Composition, yeah.
It's composition, and I really never thought in terms like that until, the day I met you, and you're like, oh, you can put this with this and this with this.
Yeah, cause you was naturally adding, your own rhythmic sounds and your patterns. It was like you had variation, and that's something you have to teach. It's not something that someone can naturally just come and just start playing.
I wanted to get into producing because I wanted to create something. I didn't want to reproduce something that somebody else had already done. I want to make my own mark, and especially for people with disabilities, it's very, very rare for them to create their own blueprint, to create their own path. A lot of times their situation is laid out for them, or their limitations are set for them. So part of my desire to produce comes in my hunger to really experience the world as I want to experience it.
We back to this beat, man.